Welcome back to Simplexity Analytics Seasonal Report for November of 2023. This month we have three markets that are the most bullish, and that's coffee, the Russell 2000 Index, and the Dow Jones Index. We have heating oil as the most bearish this month. One note here with heating oil, as with a lot of times the other energies, is they don't fit in well in the heat map because they're very volatile, and setting a stop loss is really tough to do in these markets. So that market will not have a heat map this month. This month, we're going to take a deeper look into the S&P E-minis, which we always do, and we're going to compare that to the Dow Jones this month, and then we're going to contrast that to the 30-year bonds because the bonds and the stock markets tend to move opposite of each other. First off, we're going to have a look at the seasonal chart for the 30-year US bonds. The reason we're doing bonds this month, even though it's not one of the most bullish or bearish months, is just because this is kind of a slow month, November, in terms of seasonal heat maps. So we're going to use the US bonds more as a comparison for the other two stock indices, which we're going to do as well in this video. Bonds tend to move opposite of stocks, so it's kind of odd this month that we have bullish months in stocks, and this is also the third most bullish month for bonds. So the month of November closes higher than it opens 70% of the time for US bonds in the last 20 plus years, and it has netted over $28,000. So it's a strong month. But that strength doesn't occur until later on in the month, as we see the seasonal indicator. The beginning of November tends to dip and then pick up towards the end of the month. And we'll look on the seasonal chart and see how that correlates. The other thing I want to point out is the bond market has been in a huge decline dating back months and years, actually. So this goes back even 3 or 4 years, this decline that we're in. So to say that we're reaching a seasonal low, all of a sudden we're going to turn right around, that's pretty tough to say because we're still in a very bearish situation here. And here's the heat map for 30-year bonds for November. We see that the heat map correlates very well to what this seasonal indicator showed, and that's that the beginning of the month tends to be bearish, and that's indicated here by these red days at the very beginning. The next week is very flat, not much going on at all. The third week is the big bullish week of the month, and we have a number of 5-day holds. We have the second best 5-day hold of the entire year occurring on November 15th, and the days before and after that as well are very good 5-day holds. So this leads into the following week before the holiday. A very good time to be bullish in bonds the week prior to Thanksgiving. And this column here shows our holiday trade. That is for Thanksgiving. And these are the 10 days prior to the holiday. And we see that the Tuesday is the best one there. And that lines up nicely with the beginning of the 5-day holds. We have a bunch of groupings of 2 bright green days in a row in 3 of these columns here as well. So this is a very bullish time of year for bonds. Beginning of this week of the November 13th, if the patterns are there, we want to get bullish on bonds at this time. On the seasonal chart for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we see that November is the #1 most bullish month of the year. 75% of Novembers finish higher than they open. And in the 20 plus years in the back test, it has netted over $41,000. On the seasonal indicator, we see that basically as soon as October comes to an end, November starts screaming higher. It's a very bullish time for the Dow Jones. And we compare this to the 30-year bonds. The 30-year bonds only had a select area about the third week or the week before Thanksgiving. This is showing a very strong entire month of November, so we'll see how this looks on the heat map. When you see a seasonal indicator incline as quickly as it did with the Dow Jones in the month of November, then it's no surprise that when we look at the heat map, we have very few red days. In fact, we have 3 of them in the entire month of November for the Dow Jones. When we compare it to the US bonds, remember the best week of the month for the US bonds was the week of November 13th. Well, remember, bonds and stocks tend to move opposite to one another, so it's no surprise that the best week of the month for bonds is the weakest week of the strongest month for the Dow Jones. And that is this week right here. So we want to avoid this area because there's not much green there anyways, and there's only one bright green day anyways. The best times of the month are at the beginning and at the end. At the beginning, we have a 5-day hold, which is the 5th best one of the year. It's been 85% accurate in 20 years, and it's made over $31,000. In the individual days, we have clusters of 2 bright green days together in all 4 columns, and we have actually a 100% day. This is 21-0, $23,000 on the 19th trading day left in the month for November. So that's a very, very strong area for the Dow. And we get strong again just before Thanksgiving and in the days after Thanksgiving. We have a whole bunch of days that are above 90, and we have a whole bunch of days that are in double-digit net profits. So the buying areas in the Dow Jones, first week, definitely the last week, and possibly even right around the day before and day after Thanksgiving. And lastly, we will take a look at the S&P E-minis for November. November is a very bullish month as well in the E-minis, but it's the second most bullish month of the year. 70% of the time, the month of November closes higher than it opens, and in the last 20 plus years, it has made a net of just over $44,000. The seasonal indicator at the bottom shows it's not quite as strong as the Dow was. We have a little dip here occurring in the middle of the month, and then the rest of the month continues higher. And we see that to be the case last year, and this year it's showing it to be that way as well. We are currently in a pretty good downtrend heading into this bullish time, so we will see how that correlates. But let's have a look now on the heat map and see if the Dow is stronger on the heat map as well as it was on the seasonal chart. And here's the heat map for the E-minis for November. First thing we notice is it looks very similar to the Dow Jones. We have a lot more green at the beginning and a lot more at the end, and we have some sparse areas here in the middle. Remember where the bonds were strongest, these stocks are similarly the weakest. At the beginning of the month in the E-minis, no surprise here, we have a 100% day as well on the exact same day, 21-0 on the 19th trading day left in the month of November. This one has made $27,000. And we also have a 5-day hold beginning that day, and this is the second best one of the entire year. It's 86% and has made over $29,000 in those 21 years. And then we skip over this sparse area here in the middle. We start to get green again here into the week prior to Thanksgiving. Has a few bright green days, but really the bullish seasonal area begins the day after Thanksgiving. We have a 100% day here on the trading day of the month, and that is day number 17, 21-0, $15,000. We have on the trading day left of the month, that's an 86% day with about the same net return. And then heading into the next week, a bunch of bright greens again, and the Monday starts off with another 5-day hold. It doesn't make one of the top 5s, but it's still at 81%, has made over $21,000 in those 21 years. So very first week of the month and the very last week of the month, but actually beginning on the Friday after Thanksgiving, is the big bullish areas for the E-minis in November. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified on our next videos. Simplexity Analytics, making complex trading simple.